afternoon, and welcome to this Africa session, at least a live session for 2016. Today we are going to speak about what drives technology use and how learning design can support this process. This event is presented by Dr. Jerome Duga. Jerome is a lecturer with the Department of English at the University of Jos in Nigeria. I see that we had a good chat in conversation in our forum on our seminar landing page during the week, like Monday and Tuesday. And one of the questions have been about what makes courses fail and why do they fail and what can be done. So this will lead us to further discussion for this session. So without further ado, Jerome, you may go ahead.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Welcome, everybody. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. This presentation was motivated in large part by the insights I gained working with the colleagues at the Faculty of Education, National Open University of Nigeria, as a consultant for the Commonwealth of Learning. What I observed at this university was similar to what I had observed at the University of Jos, where I work, and other brick and mortar residential institutions in Nigeria. I observed that there were attempts to move from paper-based learning to online learning. This move was predicated on what it was perceived technology would be able to do, not on the knowledge of what best practice in online learning involves, which begins with a thoughtful learning design. So this presentation aims to highlight the primacy of a good learning design as the key to successful online learning, and to situate technology and its affordances merely as tools to help the instructor successfully implement such a design. In the course of the presentation, I hope to share my practice at the University of Jos to illustrate this and to reiterate a point which I'm sure has been made many times, that migration from face-to-face mode to online mode involves far more than merely making content available online. I do not desire to spend time on what learning design is, because this has been adequately handled on this platform and elsewhere. Recently, Connell in her 7 C's handled it very well, and I'm sure it is available in the archives. Instead, mine is to show that online learning that is not based on sound learning design will be far less successful. So let's look at my outline. I have just about 9 slides. I will make a brief introduction, which what I've said is part of that introduction. And then I will talk about technology, teaching and learning, and tools. In the introduction, I made this little chart because I thought this is a fine takeaway. Piaget said many years ago that the goal of education is to create men and women who are capable of doing new things, not simply repeating what other generations have done. This has been the goal of every educator, irrespective of time or location. But the world is changing, and how this is handled is also changing. The world is changing, it is creating new possibilities, it is bringing new affordances, it is even affecting the way we learn. It's affecting the mobility of people and how people desire to learn. Learning design helps us to reflect on what we want to do, what results we want to achieve, and that reflection paves the way for which tools will best will help us to best contribute to that outcome. And that's the point I want to make. Technological affordances are what you employ strategically to achieve your learning objectives. They are defined or should be defined by your learning design, your learning objectives, your context, your learners, and things like that. So if you are in a hurry and you are about to leave, or you will soon leave, of this presentation is that we need to have a clear goal. We need to know our learner, we need to know our context, and we need to reflectively design our learning, and then the design will create and define for us in a way what affordances that we would use. I like this next slide because I threw
apologies, Jerome. Your sound is breaking up quite a bit. Just if you can hear us, just taking Tony's advice, and perhaps you could try and just log out and get back into the room. Hopefully we can restore and create a better connection.
That Jota to everything, it is just there. It is of our dreams, driven by theory. It is driven by our pedagogical model based on something we are designing. This will help link that theory to the practice when eventually we are something that I did. They didn't know how to identify.
Jerome, can you hear sound from the room? If so, please say yes.
Yeah, they came to do.
Jerome, do you have any sound from the room at all?
If you ask them, they could define what a verb was, for instance. But if you wrote a sentence that included a verb, they didn't know which one of the words was a verb. And this I identified as a problem. So if you have a problem like this, for each topic, for instance, if you have a problem that is driving why you want to do a design, then your design will be focused, which is why many people talk about doing a learner analysis, an analysis of your context, an analysis.
Jerome, we're recommending that you try to step out of the room and then come back in, and your sound might be better.
All that analysis.
I know there'll be a time lag here, but please try doing that. Thank you.
Conceptualize, to properly reflect and think, create a mental picture of what you want to design. For me, this is a first step, and I'm sure I think I'm back online now. I lost my connection, and now I'm trying to see my slides. I can't see them anymore. Everywhere is blank. So, okay. I hope you can still hear me, but at my own end, I can't see my slides.
Okay, Jerome, your sound is better. Let's take advantage of that. Go back that slide or two. Very good. And let's carry on from there. Thanks.
Okay, I can't see my slide, but I can continue.
Your slides. We have the slide here about technology not an end in itself.
Yes. Okay, that is where I had gone to the point of learning design, starting with a concept, and I talked about that. I hope that point was heard loud and clear. But I can't see my slides, but I can continue really without the slides there changing. So I was on the slide that said content and activities are driven by the goal. And I gave an instance of the course I designed, which had a goal to help learners identify and use parts of speech in English. I was about to make the point that content should be such that it will create a learning pathway leading to robust activities. Now, part of the problem is that people who use the face-to-face model and then want to move from there to the online model want to shift the entire content as it is to the online mode. Now, when they do that, they do not make content to be an aid to learning. They make content to become a deterrent to learning because it's so bulky and so improperly designed that it becomes a hindrance to learning. One scholar, Nikki Monahan, recommends taming the content monster by careful organization, curation, and use of technology. She recommends that we use time more efficiently, but I will talk about that as we move on. So, what about technology affordances? They are driven, they should be driven by the activities and the context. Here again is where a problem arises when there is no proper learning design. Technology in itself can do a lot of things. The way the technology is moving, there is almost nothing that people do around that technology cannot do. But technology may not be able to do that in your context. It may not be able to do that in my context, or my learners may not be able to properly use that technology, or technology may do what it can do, but that is not what is desired for the purpose of this particular learning activity. So if I just employ technology, if I just use technology, it will do something fanciful, but it may not achieve the learning objectives. Therefore, whatever technology we are using should be determined by our learning design. It should be a function of what we have decided to do, what we have planned to do, and then we look for whichever technology can achieve that within our context. Technology is changing all the time, so I'm not legislating here what technology we'll use for which kind of thing, because before we sleep and wake up tomorrow, there are new technologies. So emerging technologies are making more and more possibilities for what we can do. But the choice of affordances, or in collaboration with an instructional designer or somebody who is an expert in the use of technology, not by just the instructor. The reason I made this is because we are operating in an environment where the lecturer is the course designer, the lecturer is the instructional designer, the lecturer is the technologist, the lecturer is whatever he is. In many of our institutions in sub-Saharan Africa, we have not yet reached that point where institutions assemble a team of experts with everybody doing what they need to do. So this presentation will be useful to people who are either poor designers, people who do not know that they need to be a designer at all, or who are panicky designers. They know that some kind of design needs to be made, but they are uncomfortable about how to go about it. If we wait until all the structures are in place, experts in design are available before we begin to go online, many of us will never reach there. But when we have decided what we need to do by our own design, and we want to look for what kinds of technologies can achieve that, it will be easier for somebody, even in the IT department, to assist us to say there's this particular tool that we can use. Now, this is what I observed, that many people who are using the face-to-face mode or the paper mode in the case of ODL, who want to move to the online environment, simply reproduce the content and put it online. And they feel that doing so amounts to online learning. And of course, when they persuade learners go online, but they do not enjoy the experience, because all the other things that need to be done because this is online learning are not put in place. Again, part of this is a function of lack of learning design, because learning design would help us to know that we are on a different platform, and that some of the things that were available during the paper mode are not available here online. Therefore, they ought to be substituted or other things that would deputize or would act like what we could do in class, face to face. I have this fine quote I like from Paul Keron, who said, if you simply take your face-to-face class and put it online and teach it electronically, you will fail miserably. Well, there have been failures in the institutions where I've had interaction with. There have been failures even among my own colleagues, because the courses were not designed. They just digitized content and put it online. Janice Florence said, if your aim is to create a meaningful online learning experience with long-lasting effects, you will have to rethink the way you teach. Not because the theories will change, but the application of the theories and the models and the frameworks in online environments are different. So if we want to have a learning that people would enjoy and courses that people would not abandon halfway or drop off, we need to first of all design it properly. And for those who talk about learning design, the process goes all the way to piloting, implementation, and evaluation. So if we go through all that process, the chances that we are all misaligned, and our own activities do not take into consideration also the need for the different presences, social presence, and now they talk about emotional presence, and all of those factors, then the course will fail. I was talking about using time efficiently to shift from covering to uncovering content through analysis, through application and problem solving. online content should facilitate learning. So it should be breezy enough to get the learner going. And if there is need for a richer engagement, then that can be by means of branching out and not the course itself. What we see on Google when we log on, or Wikipedia, illustrates this. Wikipedia would present information, and for every little or every additional information, there is a link. So if you are interested in going that extra mile, going to learn more about that other anecdotal or ancillary information, then you go to the other page. But if we put all of that together as part of our content, then our content becomes a monster, and it is no longer an aid to learning. So Paul Caron says we should shift from covering to uncovering content through analysis, application, and problem solving. So if you simply take your face-to-face class and put it online and teach it electronically, it will fail. We need to use content in such a way that it gets the learner moving on. And we cannot do that if we do not first design our course. If we do not design the learning, we will not know ahead of time what we want to achieve and how we can go ahead achieving it. So I guess that's what I wanted to share. I have some useful websites here that if you look at your slide number 11, you will see it. Thank you very much. We can now discuss the matter. Jakob? Are you people there? Hello?
Thank you very much, Jerome. We apologize for the sound, but I hope that you at least had some from this presentation. And let's open up now for questions that you may have for Jerome and comments on the topic of learning design.
Okay, but before that, I want to ask you a question, Jerome. Can you see what's happening in the text chat? Please let us know, because if you can't see what's happening in the text chat, we're going to have to read the questions.
Okay. See my screen. Is blank, but if you read the question to me, I'm afraid to disconnect in order to reconnect again. So
okay, so we'll have to talk about those interface issues after, because it really is a bit puzzling. We've got one question that's come through here. The question I think you should do that. Step back and come back in, Jerome, and see if it'll improve the sound. So let's give Jerome a few seconds to do that. Meanwhile, just keep those questions coming. We have 2 questions from Irene, and let's see what other questions can come through here. Jerome, are you back with us? Are you back in the room? Doesn't look like it. Not yet. Okay. So we've got 2 questions here. The first question comes from Irene. Why can't we take face-to-face content into online learning? What would be the problem there? And the second question also, what are some of the assumptions that people have in learning design that aren't suitable for online learning? What are the mistakes that people make with their learning design when they try to go online? Okay, Irene, I think the first question is one that Jerome actually talked about. He talked about the idea of the content monster, that you try to take all of your face-to-face content online and it just doesn't work for particular reasons. Maybe we can get Jerome to say a bit more about that when he's back. Okay, Jerome's left, and come back, Jerome. We need you. Good to see you back here. Can you just say something to us so we can check your sound? Jerome, take your mic back and say something, please. Jerome, grab the mic and say something if you can, please. I think it looks like Jerome's taking a while to get his mic back. I don't know if he can hear anything that we're saying at the moment. Hopefully he can. So let's actually look at some of the questions that people had, and maybe we can discuss these together in the chat. There's a question from Irene. What are some of the assumptions that people have in learning designs that are not suitable for online learning? So when people go from face-to-face to online, what are the assumptions that they have that don't work in online learning? So maybe anyone else in the room who can think about these assumptions can please put some of them into the text chat. What are the bad assumptions that help you, that actually don't help you to make it work in online learning? Okay, so Jerome's coming on a second device. Let's make him a presenter on the second Jerome. So we have Jerome 2. Thank you. Jerome 2, grab the mic, please. Doesn't look like Jerome 2 is grabbing the mic either. So let's just keep going for a little while in the text chat among ourselves. Okay, great, Jerome. You can see the chat. This is just marvelous. And you can hear us. This is even better. Now can you get your microphone? I dare you. Let's see. Aha. Okay. So it looks like you're having difficulty getting the microphone, Jerome. But let's keep going with the text chat. And maybe you can enter in the text chat, Jerome. So the question, there was a question here that came from Irene. What do people assume from face-to-face learning designs? That means that they fail when they go online. So that's one question. Okay, Jerome, I've just enabled your mic as a participant. Try speaking, please.
It seems as if, unfortunately, we have lost Jerome at the moment. At least what we will share, if we are not getting Jerome back, then we will still have resources on our landing page to continue our discussion that we sort of started here and with the questions. Tony has just posted the link to the discussion forum that we have. We encourage you to visit that after the session, and in that very same forum we will also be sharing the text chats that we see here, the transcript, and also Jerome's presentation and other resources that are available for this specific topic. I see Jerome is back. I'm wondering if we can get just here before we finish off, if we can get Jerome's microphone working.
Jerome, if you can, grab a mic and try talking with us, please. Welcome back. Your persistence is admirable and a role model.
I'm back for questions. I can hear you. And, so, where are we? Well done, Peter.
A few questions in the text chat.
A few questions.
In the chat.
Okay.
Wondering about a question that was asked by
I haven't seen.
Peter. Can you suggest an adaptable learning design model or template for institutions in Africa to use?
Okay. That's a very high-level question, probably bigger than me, but I can tell you what I have been doing. Because the institution where I work is not an ODL, the kinds of designs we do are focused, such as what I shared with you, so that we look at what the problem is and then we consult, because there's no team on the ground to help you in your design. But you have people who have IT skills and who know which kind of tool is available and what kind of thing it can do. So you go and share your dreams with these kinds of people, and then because you have your own learning design well laid out, they help you with the parts that you are unable to do by yourself. But I have no answer for a holistic design or approach for sub-Saharan Africa or for the kind of context in which we work here.
Okay, I'll refocus the question, Jerome. Which is basically, if you were designing a course from scratch for life, what process would you use?
Okay, the process I will use is to first of all find out, do an analysis of my learners. Interestingly, if they are fresh students, you have not encountered them before, then part of what I do is I learn from the history of such new entrants. On the basis of that experience, determine what kinds of learners I am going to expect. And then I look at the infrastructure we have, which is part of our context, which is the technological available and the infrastructure. I look at that. I look at other factors and the time frame we have, and on the basis of that, begin to sketch my design. That's the first thing to do. What exactly is the main problem? And within the context of our own environment, what limitations we have, what is possible, what can we do? So I start from that point of view, then I design. Thanks, Peter.
Okay, so take it one step further.
Yeah.
It's up to every single lecturer to go through that process individually. So if there was an institutional process, what do you think that would look like? Something that had institutional support.
If it was an institutional process, there will be a team in place. And that team would consist of professional instructional designers who are agile designers, and they will be different from the content experts who are the lecturers, and this will be different from even multimedia experts. So you have all of those people in place, and so all that the lecturer might need to do is to consult with these ones and tell them their dream, what he wishes to accomplish, and then they would begin to sketch things and test them against him and have him look at those things, whether it reflects what he has in mind. And that way the journey will be better and easier. If it was an institutional setup, that is the way I think it will work. Tony, are you there? Do people hear me?
Jerome, any closing thoughts from anybody in the text chat? And then maybe
okay.
Maybe Jerome, you can say a few things to wrap up before we adjourn to the forum.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Tony. Are you through with it? Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for participating in this on live presentation. I will be available online for further discussions on the text chat. It's a pity that our technology didn't seem to work too well, so there were breaks here and there. I hope that part of what I said, you heard it. Thank you very much.
From our side, thank you so much, Jerome, Peter, about the sound. But hopefully we can catch up a bit on the discussion in discussion forum, and also remember that we have a Facebook group as well. That you're all welcome to join and continue conversation there as well. As I said before, the resources will be shared on our seminar landing page, and I'm just going to paste the link in the text chat there. From there, you will also be able to access the discussion forum for this session. All right, I am going to switch off the recording now. I'm getting a terrible echo in the back anyway, so let me just quickly do that.